Hi everyone, this is Killshot 99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead Season 10 Dead Talk Live. We're going to kick it off with a little bit of Walking Dead. I see everybody wants to know. We got some questions, we got some news, we got a little bit of everything. But the burning question everybody wants to know is, who is in the ninja mask? And I've been looking at the body type, and I think I've got it figured out. I pieced it together, a dance video that was done on our Facebook fan page, and I saw the weapons and the lean and a little bit of everything. And I think if you look at the beginning of this video, I think it is our very own Will the Bill. Check this out.
Y'all, come close. I got something to show you.
Had to see the way the hands were up in the air like that. Notice that the person in the mask was leaning back. We saw Will doing his little walk, right? We're gonna get everybody in the mood to do a little dance before we get into the Walking Dead topics tonight. All right, there we go. We're going to kick it off, everybody. I want to appreciate and thank all of you guys just for being here, being a part of our Thursday night Walking Dead chat. We got a lot of stuff going on. I know, there's different news and different rumors and theories and clickbait and all of those things. We pretty much limited our streams to a Thursday night gathering, a little bit of a get-together. You guys know we got stuff going on all week long, whether it's PDL or whether it's pack openings or strategies or theories, and even behind the scenes in our game, we're doing little clues all day long. But we don't want to get too far removed from The Walking Dead. But there's just only so much you can talk about episode 16. So I went doing a little bit of digging today. Like, I was literally digging for news, and I thought, there's got to be something out there, right? Something that we can kind of get together and add to our streams and talk about. So I do got a few, I've got a few topics here that we're going to touch on. But also tonight, what we're going to do is I want to get a lot of your thoughts in this video. So if you got some interesting Walking Dead, don't give me clickbait stuff, but if you got something interesting that may be a theory or an idea or something that you want to see or something that is legit confirmed, not using the words confirmed, then we'll certainly jump around and talk about that. But feel free just to leave your thoughts in the comments. I see Amy Bones Ferrero. Love me some Walking Dead, no doubt. This is our, I would say it's what brought most of us together, but many of you have been here for a long time. Somebody messaged me the other day and was like, Kills, I didn't know you did Clash of Clans videos. You just don't know. I mean, I've done Madden, I've done basketball, I've done Clash of Clans, I've done Empires and Allies. You name it. We've streamed it from a gaming standpoint. But Walking Dead is really, it's kind of been that glue that sort of keeps us all together. Gina Rocket Crockett, hello Army, who's pumped up for tomorrow night. What's going on tomorrow night, Rocket? Something a little special going down? I mean, yes. Well, our Walking Dead fans that aren't totally familiar with Play Dead Live, they may not know that we've got a lot of like scavenger hunts and a lot of in-game and out-of-game game things. And what Gina's referring to is there's just been a lot of individual messages that have been sent out to players, and they're probably going a little bit mad right now trying to figure out an order, but not like a command, but I mean like a succession, like certain things are going to happen in a specific order. But we'll get to that. Tonight is going to be a little bit about. I don't know if it's going to be too much of a rant. If you guys want to give me some good material to rant, I can. Give me something. Give me like something that you read that just infuriated you and you're like, nah, I'm not watching this. I'm going over to hang out with the 999 Army. Leave that in comments and then maybe I'll do a mini rant. Otherwise, we're just going to talk about the 2 or 3 bullet points. I see Julia Muse. I need another cryptic clue. Wow, I don't know how many are out there, Julia. I think how many clues do you guys think are out there right now? If you guys are just tuning in, this might be half Walking Dead, half Play Dead Live. So and whatever else we want to talk about. I don't even think that's a theory, Hippo. I will say that is the type of thing that will make me angry. If come on, man, there's no way Dwayne's alive. Really? And Hippo, I'm not faulting you for bringing it up. I mean, I think it's a good point to bring it up, but that does make me mad. And it's as bad as Madison being alive. Both of those combined, just it's gone, man, gone. Amy Bones read the cast had signed on for the Rick movies. Is that just that they are under contract? I would say they probably wrote into the language of their contract that they have the rights to use them in other shows or movie rights because of their character. That would be the only thing I'd think. And they're probably committing to it, but it doesn't mean that they'll be chosen for it. Maybe like a group cameo photo, or they're all wide angle shot. They find Rick at the very end. Those type of things. So yeah, the Dwayne thing, I don't know. He's dead, man. He's dead. Why? Why do we think all these dead characters are still alive? How many? I mean, again, it's like a spinoff topic. Where everybody in the world thinks there's going to be a Negan spinoff, there's going to be a Simon spinoff, there's going to be a Jada spinoff, there's going to be 5 movies, there's going to be 10 movies. That seems to be like the topic of the day. But how many dead people on the show actually, or people that we think are dead, come back and, we always pick somebody who's dead or left the show to come back. Now, Sherry, okay, look, that, I never thought Sherry was dead. But there are people, okay, I'll give you an example. Not to specifically name the person, George Drake, who came out with this bullshit, but it was speculated at one point that Sherry was the person walking around in the field and she was gone, and that stuff. There were several of those that came out, and we never got on board with that because, well, we always thought that Sherry was going to be back. I did anyway. I never thought that there was any chance she wasn't going to be there, that she was going to be a Pike, or that she was going to be. Now look. I'm a little surprised at what happened with Frankie, and I'm a little surprised that didn't bother Negan a little bit more. Like, we can go. I mean, I'm not going to fall into the trap of plot hole, but it just seemed a little bizarre that didn't bother Negan a little bit more, right? Anthony Ancona says, I've heard that Maggie would be more of a TV Andrea, as when she sided with Governor, she won't commit to Georgie's group or the home team. Well, I mean, it could be Maggie, right? I mean, I think Maggie, I've been saying Maggie's going to come in with guns blazing, but she could come in with a couple scathes and just, like the Grim Reaper. This is like a Grim Reaper shot. But okay, I'm not going to go straight anti-Negan because I know you guys love you some Negan. But I would have thought that there would have been a stronger bond with Negan and Frankie and the fact of what the Whisperers did, rather than Negan falling for the person who orchestrated all the deaths, right? So where was what would have happened if Alpha would have put Carl's head on a pike? Let's do that. Let's go. What would you do? So if Negan rolled up, or Negan heard rumor that Alpha decapitated Carl, how would he have reacted to that? Would he have ever given her any benefit of the doubt? Right, all hell would have broke loose. Yeah, but see, Moonshot, here's the problem. Okay, he didn't want to kill Alpha. At least in my mind, he didn't want to kill her. He was straddling that line, and if she would have let Lydia walk, and if she would have spared a few people, I don't think Negan even kills her. I just don't. Because when he killed her, that regret of he did not want to take Lydia's mom away from her. And this is why I bring this up, okay? Because if Alpha would have killed Carl, would he have ever had that moment with Alpha, or would he have given her every opportunity? That's kind of my question to you. So Rocket says Negan would have shown no mercy. See, that's kind of what I'm thinking. So I think this is a little bit of a miss. So, now granted, maybe we didn't like Henry as much, but where was the fire with Henry? I know Henry didn't build the same bond with Negan. In fact, they had no bond whatsoever. But certainly, the fact that Alpha killed a kid, you would think would have been enough that he never would have given Alpha the benefit of the doubt. That was my problem with the Negan arc all along. How we knew where it was going to go, but to me it was the dialogue and the behaviors and the reactions and the cut her a little bit of slack, cut her a little bit more of slack. I don't know if I'm going to go through with it. And even Carol said as much. Carol said, it certainly took you long enough. So Carol saw through the fact that Negan was hesitant about keeping his end of the bargain. Would you agree with that? And then he sort of switched it around on her, like it takes a little time. So I think the reason Carol did not want to bring Negan back is because she knew he was undecided. And she was banking on him to be more decisive, and he was not. So he was trying to back out. And look, this doesn't change my opinion of Negan one way or the other, and it shouldn't change yours. I'm not trying to make you not be a fan and a supporter of Negan. I'm indifferent. I went from hatred to indifference. Some of you went from hatred to indifference to, all out love, which is okay. But the story and the way it played out, to me, see, there you go, Diana. See, he had to know. He had to know that Frankie was dead. And Busy Bee, you're making a tremendous point. Alpha reminded Negan of his wife, but where's the fire with Frankie? Where's the fire with Henry? Ozzy, DJ, the rest of them, that's fine. I don't care about that too much. And I don't know that Negan would care about that per se. Maybe DJ. But to me, it seems like if Negan was that upset over the fact that Alpha was going to kill Lydia, why wasn't he that upset that Alpha already killed Henry? You see what I'm saying? It's like it doesn't totally mesh with me. The fact that they put him undecided, I guess I would have liked it better if he was just creepy and cryptic and bought his way in, and then they didn't have that moment where he's like looking in her eyes and he feels remorse by killing somebody that decapitated Henry. I don't think Henry deserved what he got. And you could say ultimately justice played out in the end, which I guess it did. But I wanted to kind of go down that rabbit hole of talking about plot holes because that's really what some of the articles are about. They're not as deep as our articles because when we break it down to a whole different psychological level. I think when other people write it, honestly, there's a lot of publications out there that just grab whatever will stick and they throw it. Like, for example, there's an article out today that says smart zombies in season 1 are a plot hole. Raise your hand if you've heard that story 10 times before. This is not new news. This has been around as longer than the space spore. So today we get another article saying that smart zombies are a plot hole. We know that. So the show changed. They didn't know the level of popularity the show was going to have. They couldn't make genius zombies. So you gotta accept some of that. And I know in some cases it's been said, well, they're older and the virus has changed and so on and so forth. They've skated around that topic, but it's a bunch of BS. It's just a plot hole. Just kind of go with it. And this has been like the world's favorite pastime. And look, I'm guilty. We are all guilty of it too. I think the number one thing to do with The Walking Dead when you don't have The Walking Dead, it's do the best of, right? So I saw it again. I know we did best episodes ever. So many of us are out there. It's like, well, what can you talk about? There's no news. There's nothing headlining. So, we did this a couple weeks ago, and then another publication's like, hey, this is one of the 10 best of all time. What are your 10 best? Here's our 10 best. I think there's another Spaceport article out there. But here it is. This is the headlining news from today. I'm not giving you much, but I'm gonna give you the only information that we have right now because it's like, I don't know where to go with this one. But anyway, no less than 4 publications have led with this story. Norman Reedus says episode 15 is a Game of Thrones style ending. Okay. Now, if we can talk about that, I'm going to say no. Only because The Walking Dead is good. And I will say, I'm a bigger Walking Dead fan than I am Game of Thrones. But from a number standpoint, I don't have them in front of me. But I'm going to guess Game of Thrones got about 50 million, probably as many, if not more, than the Super Bowl. And I'm going to say Walking Dead is going to get about 2.5, 3 million. So I think it's an unfair comparison. I think anytime you open up that can of worms, you set yourself up for criticism. As much as I like Norman, I don't think you should go there. It would be like me saying, anybody have kids? Like, you don't have to tell me, like, anybody have kids that are, like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, something like that. They're like small kids. I know many of you do. But it would kind of be like this analogy. If I played basketball against your kids and I won and I said, my performance was like Michael Jordan. I think, of course it is. But you're comparing yourself to something that's not happening right now. And I think you open up that. Just don't, Norman. Norman's great, but we tried it with the Red Fair and it didn't go so well. I would just rather hear The Walking Dead is good in its own context. And I'm not gonna rant against Norman Reedus because I'm gonna lose. And I don't think it's certainly not his fault that every journalist in the world has nothing to do right now. And that comment in itself is going to make front page entertainment news. If you type in Walking Dead right now in your browser, that's what's going to come up. Article after article. So I just would rather hear this season finale of The Walking Dead is going to be mind-blowing. It is going to be one of our best ever. I don't even know that there's a reason to compare it to Game of Thrones. Unless you feel like you've got to do that in order to reel people in. And I don't think you do. I think people that don't, have given up on The Walking Dead have given up. I don't think a grand comparison is going to make people who've given up come back. I think we're kind of where we are. Many of us are not leaving. But you're right. Jack says, anytime one of the stars from The Walking Dead does something right now, it's going to be front page news. But this is kind of, this is the state we're at right now. I told you guys it wasn't going to be anything big. Because for me, something big is something that's not a closed-ended statement. So when you say something like, hey, or he would say, hey, watch. Episode 16 is going to be like Game of Thrones. It's going to be better than them son bitches. I think, and you're going to say like, okay, yeah, cool. But I would rather have something where I can come back to my audience and say, hey guys, what do you think it's going to be like? Or how is it going to be like Game? All right, here's the problem I have with that statement. Because I'm going to ask you guys live. How do you guys think that The Walking Dead is going to be like Game of Thrones? I want to read some of your comments. He's pumping, exactly, Amy. He's pumping it up, and I don't think he needs it. I don't think it's even necessary for him to draw that comparison. Exactly, Anthony. I hope Norman isn't comparing it to the Game of Thrones finale. That's my challenge. So Julia Mew says, heads rolling. Father Ron, lots of death. White Walkers. They're going to be White Walkers. Too dark to see. That's a good one. Because there were a couple episodes that were a little tough. Hey, Dog's going to fly off into the ocean. I mean, maybe Dog is going to run off and fall into the salt water. And we're going to wonder, is Dog going to come back in a sequel? So I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about. Two groups battling each other. Okay, now that if I do a little bit, I can do a little bit of investigative reporting. I can figure some things out here. That's what we do, right? So what he's saying is he and several others are going to be locked down in this hospital. Like they're trapped at King's Landing. And they're going to be surrounded. And Beta is going to be ruthless. Like a Targaryen. So people are going to get ran over and eaten and die. And important people are going to die. But then after that, I lose all the drama. Because, well, we kind of knew that was going to happen anyway. Right? Yeah, fire, a collapsing building. I don't know. I mean, I just thought we could have done better with finding a better comparison than, and which Game of Thrones? There's a whole lot of epic points in Game of Thrones. I mean, is somebody going to betray us? Okay, now, so Singer Chick, there you go. She says, I think he's referring to the battle that will take place between Beta, Daryl, and Negan, like Jon Snow, Arya, and the Night King. Well, thank you. Because if that's the case, wow. That is a huge comparison. I mean, you're talking about, and please, no offense here, because you guys know I love me some Walking Dead. Whew. I mean, is that even fair? Is it fair to do that? And if we ask 50 million people that were not named Norman Reedus, do you think they would say the same thing? This is the important part of this. If you're going to bring those lofty expectations, oh boy, had they better deliver. Now, let me say this. We're going to have some fun with this tonight. Bones, Kills, any ideas for storylines after they finish the comics? Oh, boy. You know what? Give me a second on that one. All I have to say, if you're going to compare yourself to Game of Thrones, you better not CGI a deer. You better not CGI a river. You better be paying your special effects people a boatload of money. Because for me, the Game of Thrones had some of the best visual effects that you watch on a show. So I think when you draw that line, you got to be ready. And so Here's my follow-up question. Do you think if Norman's going to make that statement, you guys think he's seen it? You think he's seen the finished product? You think he's seen all the special effects and how it's going to play out? No, he hasn't seen it. You know why? Because they haven't finished it yet. So I got a problem with that too. There's no way he knows how it's going to play out unless they've already done all the work that they need to do behind the scenes with the visuals and the audios that they claim not to have. He has the script. He's been involved in it. But having the script and watching the playback, Julia, you should know this based on your outside interactions, it ain't even the same thing. Acting and playing the part and then seeing it rolled back with everything added is completely different. So again, I think that's a tall comparison. And again, he's speaking for himself, but kind of like we are. And we got to take a certain amount of it on blind faith. So let me ask this question. Because I know you guys can be a little bit of a rowdy group. I like to play the devil's advocate, and I think I do it well. But in order to do that well, I got to be prepared to take a few shots as well, right? It's fair. So here's my question for all of you. And I might get fired up again, but I need honest answers. How many of you think that episode 16 is going to be the greatest episode in the history of the television show called The Walking Dead? If you think that, give me a quick, yes it is. It's going to be better than Rick. It's going to be better than Shane. It's going to be better than all of the above. It's going to be better than all of that combined. So I want to see how many people in your heart right now think it is going to be the best Walking Dead episode ever. Okay, now if you don't think it's going to be the best Walking Dead episode, don't compare it to Game of Thrones. Do not. It's a waste of time. So you're going to say the 10th or 11th or 15th best episode of The Walking Dead is equivalent to a Game of Thrones type ending? Come on, Norman. Let's stop the comparison, because it's not. If it is going to be even in the same sentence of one of the greatest episodes of the Game of Thrones ever, it better be the best Walking Dead ever, not the 10th best Walking Dead ever. That's the problem I have with this comparison. I don't have any problem loving your show and repping your show and throwing down the gauntlet. Look, we do it, right? I'll throw down the gauntlet. Put me some George Drake in here. We'll sit down. I'll have a chat. I'll battle George Drake on news or Walking Dead content or lyrical rap. I don't care. If you're confident, but stay in your lane. Don't go throwing out. I'm not going to go out there and put on my gloves and start battling PewDiePie. That's not my game. That would be the equivalent of me saying, hey, 999, you know what? Me and Ninja are going to play against each other, a little bit of Fortnite, and I'm going to kick his ass. That ain't going to happen. I get it. I understand it. So don't be throwing the Game of Thrones comparison around like they're in the same ballpark or league. It's just not a thing. And it's unnecessary because it's not going to suck any more fans in. It's not going to bring fans back to The Walking Dead. I think that would be better served by building on something that resonates with our community, with our audience. Tell me, hey, give me a little bit more so we got something to talk about. Like, hey, hey, Maggie, she's going to be like a widow with guns a-blazing. You know, something like that. Give me something that we can latch on, and then I can say, hey, guys, what do you guys think? Let's talk about Maggie a little bit. But instead, we're talking about unfair comparisons to the Game of Thrones. And we don't even know what part of the Game of Thrones is. And from my vantage point, Walking Dead has never been strong with CGI or visual effects of any type, to be honest. I think the makeup on their walkers is good, but the story of The Walking Dead is what we get. It's what we love. It's what has kept us here for 10 seasons. Every once in a while, you know, we get a new creative walker. So, you know, I'll go back and ask you guys, like, what's your favorite? Okay, let's do this. What is your favorite visual experience in The Walking Dead? I know some of you guys, Daryl. Oh, Daryl's such a great visual experience. All right, I get it. Other than Daryl, what is your favorite visual experience? Was it Rick with a piece of rebar through his side? Was it Glenn with one of his eyes hanging out? Was it, you know, there's a couple walkers here or there, the well walker. And that was what? How long ago was the well walker? Crystal? Like 7 years ago? 6 years ago? So there's only so much you can do in a zombie apocalypse. Now, Game of Thrones is a whole lot you can do. Because Game of Thrones had some walkers, and they had some dragons, and they had some, you know, they had all kind of stuff. Walking Dead can't bring in dragons. So again, it's an unfair comparison. Now, if Daryl means that somebody's going to come flying in on a dragon, now you got my attention. Now we'll compare apples to apples. Rick comes flying in on a dragon, then I'm down. Done. I'm right back with you. But other than Rick coming in on a dragon, I think, yeah. Because more than likely, it's going to be, so let me ask this question. And it's probably unfair, because I know many of you guys are going to pick what Norman said over what I said, but it's okay. It's okay. I can take it. But I'm of the mindset, and I'll ask this. How many of you think that the Walking Dead finale will be more like the Walking Dead comic book than it is Game of Thrones? Is that a fair question? How many people think that it'll be more like something from their own series rather than The Walking Dead? But that's just not sexy and beautiful, is it? I mean, it sounds good to say Game of Thrones because we did it. I mean, look, we threw the red fair out there, right? Now, in fairness, it wasn't as red of a fair as I wanted it to be and as we hyped it up to be, but there was still some pretty dramatic circumstances. Okay, so here's what I predicted. And I was wrong with this prediction. It wasn't ever confirmed or this is the way it happened. But I predicted that Alpha would straight come up behind Ezekiel and kill Ezekiel at the fair. And then there would be like this mass murder. And it would be the red fair. And that's really the basis of what I wanted to hype it up because I thought that'd be a cool story. Take down the king and do it in public. But she didn't. So, you know, there's still a lot of death. There was probably... Well, there was more Walking Dead death as a result of that fair than there was in the Negan lineup. Alpha killed more people than Negan did. But, yeah, I mean, in fairness, yeah, you guys see what I did there. It was a little disappointing because we didn't even get the whole dark story until the season after. and we relived it through Sadiq. And I think that was one of those things that it was probably, it sounded good at the time, but I don't think the audience really loved waiting that long. It was almost like an extended cliffhanger that they sort of snuck in there, I guess. Amy, I think that's the only way Rick is coming back flying a dragon. Finale will be like a Walking Dead finale. I think so, and I think it can be one of the better Walking Dead finales. But the audience is already torn on Maggie. So if Maggie's going to be a big part of the Walking Dead finale, and you're comparing it to Game of Thrones, which is extremely popular, and Maggie is she's less than popular right now, and I do think she'll get back to her old self, and I think the fans will certainly appreciate her, but that's probably going to be one of the bigger stories. And I mean, you're going to have to kill quite a few people. So in your mind, and this is probably another unfair question. It's okay, I'm going to ask a lot of unfair questions. Who would have to die in this season finale to even get it close to Game of Thrones level? So leave me a few comments. Now, if you just tell me Rosita, no. Rosita dying is not going to put you at Game of Thrones level. E-Beach, what is up, E-Beach? Good evening, Army. Bring back the Walking Dead show soon. Just Carol? Just one person? I think, you know what? I think you got to put Carol, Negan, and Rosita, and then you got me sitting at the table. Then you got my attention. That's a start. And then we got to figure out what happens after that. If you want it to be Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones will kill your character. I mean, drop of a hat. Chris says pretty much everybody but Norman, Melissa, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Oh, I don't want any of them to die. But I didn't make the comparison to Game of Thrones. So for me, it's fine. Keep them there. I don't think that a herd of walkers with beta is unlike anything that we haven't already seen. I mean, let's do a quick speed test. Name a scene that you remember in The Walking Dead where there was a big herd of walkers. All right. Well, there's a big herd of walkers going to Sanctuary. So there's one. I mean, we've heard the term herd multiple times, like all the time, right? So Rick, there's a big herd of walkers that surrounded Rick. The quarry, there was a big herd of walkers in the quarry. So, I got no problem with it. I think it's part of the show. But if that's your platform to say, hey, it's going to be a big Game of Thrones-like ending because they got a lot of walkers and we're going to fight them back, well, we've done that. We've done that 5 or 6 times already. We've set up horns, we've had cars, we've driven them, we've herded them, we've rerouted them. We've done all these things. Eugene was surrounded, and Eugene found a way to get him out of the sanctuary. I agree, Eric. If you kill off Judith, that would be traumatic. So to me, that's not a Game of Thrones, and I'm trying to read between the lines to find out, well, what is Norman trying to say here? Like, which part of Game of Thrones? Because if it's an attack on our base and it's an attack with walkers, well, that's not Game of Thrones like. That's Walking Dead like, which is perfectly fine. You've done that before, and you do it better than anybody. So we don't need to say, well, the Game of Thrones, it almost minimizes the Walking Dead, right? It's like, hey, we're going to do as good as Game of Thrones. No, you don't have to do it like Game of Thrones. You do it like The Walking Dead. So I guess I'm a little disappointed that, one, it's a comparison of something else. Number two, I kind of like our group, and I kind of like the things that they do. I don't think they need to even draw that example. It'd kind of be better to say, hey, we're going to be like Game of Thrones because Game of Thrones was like us, or something like that, right? Because Game of Thrones, I thought, did what The Walking Dead did. Bigger, with a whole lot more. And didn't seem like they were going to make it. And if you haven't watched Game of Thrones, I just spoiled it for you. But still, you should have watched it by now. So he must know something. I just want to know. I want to know what he knows. Oh, come on. Julie, he speaks for hype every year. But the hype is different. See, exactly. Now, did Norman Reedus just clickbait you guys? Come on. They do this every year. E-Beach. To be Game of Thrones worthy, you kill a whole community. Exactly. Every year, they say something along the lines of, the acting is better than it's ever been. Like when Rick left, what was the first thing they did? They hyped it to the moon. They said, there's more people, and I don't disagree with that. I actually think, not the most popular opinion, but I thought when Rick left, more people got a chance to shine, and I think the actors are incredible in The Walking Dead. I think the cast to me is what makes the show. There's very few bad actors on The Walking Dead. They do a great job of casting. The story's not always perfect, but what show is? But I think the characters live and play their roles extremely well. That I will put up there with any show. Any show. And I could say The Walking Dead, I never watched Breaking Bad, but I've heard great acting in Breaking Bad as well. So let me throw this out there, which is kind of a random question to the group. Which show would you say the actors do the absolute best job of any show you've ever seen? Where they're in it. So I want to see some of your thoughts. Because if you ask me that question, I would start with The Walking Dead. Because of how they play it, all the experiences they go through. It's a challenge. Right, Anthony? Cersei destroyed the Sept of Baelor. So, it's Blacklist. Yeah, I mean, there's good. And look, now if you want to draw that comparison, who do I think had better actors, Walking Dead or Game of Thrones? I think that's a fair comparison. And I would say both are phenomenal. Some of the best I've ever seen. Fear the Walking Dead. Don't get me started with that. We're not going to do that tonight. So I love it. I love the support. And this is why I can be passionate about the show and have some mild criticisms of the show as well. Notice I said mild. We all get criticized. I mean, I get criticized. I get criticized for criticizing. It's just the nature of what we do. It doesn't change. The viewpoint doesn't change my commitment to the show. But there's certainly things that sometimes people say on The Walking Dead that miss the mark a little bit. I'll give you an example. So, how many people here watched the last season of Fear the Walking Dead? Now that you brought it up, sure, I'll address it. How many people here watched the last season of Fear the Walking Dead? How many people absolutely loved it? Okay. How many people saw the showrunners week after week blow smoke straight up you know where, talking about the story and how it was going to develop in this epic conclusion? The epic conclusion was Morgan was shot and he was left in a damn building. That was your epic conclusion. But for multiple weeks, I heard hype like Norman Reedus saying, this is going to be like the Game of Thrones. Be patient. Oh, wait till the end. It's going to be something that's mind-blowing. Really, you think Jenny from the block taking them all hostage after a makeshift wedding and shooting Morgan and leaving him to die without even showing he died, without even showing somebody coming in to rescue him? You get a voice over the radio. I mean, come on. We get a voice over the radio of Fear the Walking Dead. We get a voice over the radio in The Walking Dead. Enough with the voices over the radio. So, excuse me for being a little bit skeptical when we start throwing Game of Thrones compare. Not because Norman is not a good actor. He's a very good actor. But Norman Reedus only has control over Daryl Dixon. He doesn't have control over the budget. And he doesn't have control over the storyline or the CGI or the audio or who comes back or the actors' contracts. That's the problem I have with this comparison. I think it's just a very aggressive, hopeful, optimistic, passionate comparison. That's all. And I just don't want to be, I don't want to be sucked into it by taking that as truth. Because I think it's going to be a good season finale. I don't think it's going to be the best Walking Dead episode ever. But I don't need it to be. They're going to bring Maggie back. They're probably killing Beta. They're going to lose one or two characters. But on the flip side, and this was a super chat earlier from Bones, and, maybe not quite as far as the comic Bones, but, and I'm being honest with you guys, not that I want this to happen, but in order for this to be something that's going to go down in history as one of the best Walking Dead and Game of Thrones worthy episodes ever, I think you need to kill 3/4 of Alexandria. Like, I really think thousands of walkers need to rip 75% of the people up, and you're left with about 5 or 6 people that have to go to Commonwealth. Throw Norman in there, throw Carol in there, throw a few other people. Eugene's already hit the road, but let me pick 5. Give me 5 people right now to save from Alexandria. Amanda Tomlin says, I'm going to stop lights. I want to say, love The Walking Dead. Anthony, voices on the radio beats voices in my head. I guess. That's a low bar, though. I get it, Dimes. At this point, just seeing the episode will make me happy. It will at that moment, but when you're back to watching it on a weekly basis and you go back and reflect on it, maybe, maybe not. Singer Chick says Daryl, Judith, Carol, RJ, and Negan. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying start over. Just, we have rarely seen an episode where the walkers just get the best of everybody. It's always like a last-minute escape or radio or a plan. You want it to be like Game of Thrones? Kill off 3/4 of your acting staff. And then it's a gamble. I mean, it's certainly a gamble. I mean, Maggie's coming back. She's going to be there. And see, Crystal, that's the thing, right? The walkers are not a problem, but you would think at this point they should be. Because there's so much more of them. There's more herds and more risk. I don't think one of them's a problem. But it does seem like, well, let me know if you agree with this statement. If you're a character on The Walking Dead, you're more likely to die by some freak accident than being mauled by 20,000 walkers. Would that be a fair statement? Julia Muse, Beta kills Alexandria in revenge, and then the big story is his epic death. Is Beta? I mean, would Beta's death be epic at this point? I know they had to do it, but this is why I said I wish they would have kept Alpha around longer. There's something about Beta that, he's mean, he's a brute, but I don't fear Beta. Like Alpha, I'm afraid of Alpha. Right? Beta is just going to, and some of it could be the actions. Some of it could be, I think the big thing with Walking Dead is the voice. The voice inflection. It's like, that's what makes you fear some of the characters. Beta's big and he's strong, and you might be able to outrun him, but what is he going to do? You got to know if you're walking beside Beta that's a problem. Like Alpha, she'll trick you into thinking you're safe. Beta won't. Beta will just kind of mumble under his breath. You listen to my album. And then stab you, right? Or my secret identity, he'll stab you. That's the way Beta is. So if you're a whisperer, you've seen that multiple times. My question is, why try? Why do you walk up beside him and say, hey, I know you're that, and then you're dead, right? With Alpha, it's a little bit different. Alpha will get you to let your guard down because Beta doesn't pretend to like you. You know he doesn't like you. Alpha will kind of suck you in a little bit. Maybe it starts with a heavy breathing. Your people killed our people. But I have donuts. Something like that. Like she'll do something nice when you think she's going to do something mean, and then she'll do something mean when you think she's going to do something nice. Those people are the ones that they do a little bit of mind control on you. So I would rather at this point her be alive. If she was alive, then I wouldn't know what's going to happen. I kind of know what's going to happen because Beta's going to storm in. He's going to have a whole bunch of walkers. And they're either going to kill a lot of people or they're not. Or they're going to get close. This is likely the way it's going to happen. All right, I'm going to give you guys before we wind it down, we've been here for an hour. This is my non-confirmed spoiler of the finale. So it goes like this. The group is locked down in a hole. They can't trust each other. Tempers are starting to flare. What is Negan doing in there? Can we trust Negan? Is he going to be out for himself? Is he not? There's a lot of paranoia. One last shot of paranoia. And then we look through, and here comes Beta with 12,000,007 walkers. They are storming the area. The walkers are getting close. People are up on cars. They get alligator arms where they almost reach your ankle, but they can't quite reach your ankle. There's 10,000 of them, but they can't get over a 4-foot car. And then a bungee drops down and pulls somebody to the roof. And just when you think they're going to tear this building down, somebody walks by with a Walkman, and they all follow, and they jump in a cliff, and they all die. So it's probably going to be something where the group is really close to dying, and then some music plays, and then they get diverted. So in all seriousness, let me say this. I thought it was a big missed opportunity, and let me know if you agree with this. I thought the Battle of Hilltop was a big missed opportunity. I thought they did a great job with the visuals. I thought it was a good setup. That is the moment you could have started just slaying people, and I think that would have been still not Game of Thrones comparison, but it would have been as close as you get to Game of Thrones. As close as you even deserve to get to Game of Thrones. But that battle, the way it was set up, if we would have saw some people, set on fire and Alden dies and Aaron loses his other arm and, a few of the whispers, if they would have drugged that on and made it like a real epic battle, that's the one that I think I would have remembered. To box them in and have them, you go back to that old school Walking Dead, I don't think it's going to be bad. I just think it's going to be a little bit of, we've kind of seen this. And there's going to be a couple wrinkles to it, but we're relying on the wrinkles. And what makes the wrinkles good with The Walking Dead is that their wrinkles are the acting. That's always kind of their, I'm using so many cliches and analogies, right? That's always their special sauce, is even if it's an average story, that you give Negan that part or Daryl that part or Carol that part, and they're gonna reel us in. But dire straits, being surrounded in this hospital, no way out. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to pull it off, and I think make it Game of Thrones. That's all I'm saying. All right, everybody, that is what we got. I love hanging out with you guys on a Thursday night, but I got some work to do for tomorrow night because we've got a real big Play Dead Live event. We got our group. Many of the people in this chat right now are going to be battling something that is, it's like beta. It's maybe bigger than beta. Maybe a couple betas. But we got something tomorrow night that they'll probably never have on The Walking Dead. And I'm just really pleased with all the game players. We have a whole lot of fun. Thanks. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Just some casual chat, casual talk. A reminder, don't ever take yourself too serious. Sometimes we rant. Sometimes we do some crazy predictions. Sometimes we pick and troll on each other in a friendly manner. But at the end of the stream, this is a huge family, and I want to thank all of you guys for being a part of it. You guys are absolutely phenomenal. You make my week. I'm looking forward to the shows being back on, so we can get back to doing what we do with the theories and the predictions. But, for now, we're still going to get together at least once a week as promised. So, we can see a lot of familiar faces. And, I got a couple more super chats up here, so let me read these. We got Julia Muse ready for Kirkman's story to be written out. And Kel's good, bad, or great episode. Just want to see it. All great comments. So, thank you for everything that you guys do. And my sincere shout out to each and every one of you. Be safe, be smart, and let's do something we haven't done in a long time. Can we get everybody to type a quick 999? I want to give a shout out to the moderators. Emmy. Oh my God, what did I just do? That was Amy. Woo! I am so sorry, Amy. Amy, Julia, Kel, Tommy, and Ben. Whoa! What just happened there? I'm sorry, Amy. We went through an almost perfect stream. I'm going to hear about that in mod chat later on. Also, a shout out to all of our members, all of our Patreons, all of our super chatters, all of our PDL players. You guys are phenomenal. And, all the people typing 999 right now, I'm going to give all you guys a quick shout out. So we got Rocket Crockett, thank you so much. Liz Burnett, thank you. Miss the Ninja, Walani, Diana C., Coco Rose, good to see you. Amanda Tomlin, Jack Carr, Anthony Ancona, Jerry Atchison, good to see you, Jerry. Thanks for being here. Rebecca Mendez, Samantha Coombs, also our super fans of the month. How about Diana C. and Lynn Nesvick? Thank you so much. Of course, the Rainigs as well. Chris and Diane, pleasure to see you guys. Maggie B., thank you so much, Maggie B., longtime channel member right there. Crystal Newfield, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Lisa C., good to see you again. Busy B., I love to see me some killer bees. Busy B and Sheila Beasley bringing the PvP, one of my favorite teams to watch. Father Ron, thank you so much. No, I am not drinking. Red Bull only. I see Eric Beach. What's up, Eric Beach? Good to see you. Hey, we're still here once a week, man. So at least. And I probably missed a whole time. I see you, Hippo. Thanks, Hippo. Appreciate you. And if I missed some of you guys with shout-outs, my apology. I will catch you next time. And for those of you PDL players who are curious about what we do on Friday nights, I'll see you tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. And look for some more clues maybe throughout the night. And I will be sending out inventory to all of you guys later on. You guys want to close it down with a little dance? How about a ultimate dance mix to bring us home? You guys have a great night. This is how much fun we like to have no matter what's going on in the world. We can always get together and talk and sometimes get together and dance.